Hello and welcome. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and my day is pretty much taken up with I'm making shorts. So I have here some nice sort of polycotton fabric, and the shorts are for babies, so they need to be quite big to encompass the nappy, and then when they're older obviously they can go back into them because, you know, they'll fit again. So I've got a pair of jeans here and I'm going to use these as a pattern, but I'm not going to give myself any hem allowance so I know that they'll be about the right size. But it's more that I wanted to discuss shape, because you would be amazed at how much fabric comes down. So I've made it a bit shorter because I don't need that. And if we look at a pair of jeans, then we can see that they come up at the back seam. Okay, and I'm going to put in a little triangle there as well to just make the pleating easier at the end. So the shape's quite simple. At the front I'm going to have two little pleats just to take up some of the fabric, and at the back I'm going to have a little bit of elastic, and then the waistband is literally just going to be two rectangles. So now, if you've watched my blog before, you'll know that if I know a waistband's a rectangle, then I'll come back and cut it to size afterwards. I won't worry too much at the sewing stage or the designing stage. Yeah. Okay, so the waistband, that's all it is, and then I can cut to size. And the waistband on here, let's just grab that fabric. Now this is twofold that I'm folding over, so that's fine. And the reason I wanted to do the dark pleats now was just to get them level, make life a lot easier. And then the elastic that I'm inserting in the back is quite thick and quite stretchy, and I can just chop that off and put that there. So I've got everything I need, except for cutting the legs open. Yes, if you haven't worked this out, this is an old quilt. Well, it's a new quilt, but sometimes I find it cheaper to buy a quilt as fabric than I do actually buying fabric, and that's England for you. So whenever I'm doing a job like this, I always recommend that you sew your bits and then you sew your bits together. So there's not really that much I can do. I'm going to sew my legs together. Right, Sheen? And what I'll do for the main garments is I will just cut them with pinking shears, and then I'll sew over them because I want them to be as light as possible. Now at the top of the seam of the leg, what I'm going to do is stop sewing half an inch before, so I've got my hem allowance, seam allowance just to whiz round there. So okay, I've got my two pretty much identical bits, and I am going to place them right side to right side. So, and I'm only going to worry about getting this top corner right, and then double stitch just for no reason, although we are going over that seam with the waistband. And then I'm going to sew 4 inches, and then I'm going to wiggle round. One thing we really must do is we must get these two leg seams together, otherwise they'll be very uncomfortable to wear, especially in warmer heat. Okay, make sure that I've got everything I need and nothing extra. Because there's nothing more annoying, is there, than when you've managed just to pick up a random thing. Alright, so I'm just coming up to that front now. And then I come to an end. So a couple of reverse stitches. Oh, the sun's got in. Oh, what a shame. There we go. resort to electricity as we have it. Oh, it was so bright in here earlier, so I didn't think to do it. So we've got the basic shape. I'm going to hem up the bottom with just a simple fold. I'm going to make sure I've got my seam as flat as possible, and then literally I'm just going to sew around there. So I don't need to worry about that now. I can do that off the screen. Now, like I said, we've got the front slightly higher than we've got the back, and I've got my 2 triangles just to get my pleats in. Now, pleats at the front, they should fold inwards, so we're just going to do that. And I'm going to put a pin in there. So I've got my front, and then I'm folding them inwards. And I'm using that arrow just as a sort of judge. If we missed it out on the cutting stage, then what I suggest is you hold it in the middle and then put a couple of pins in so you know where you are. Okay, so that's my pleats ready. What I'm going to do next is I am going to right side to right side, and then I'm going to place the elastic. Okay, so if we fold it in half, I want it to the top of the half. Okay, so I've got hem allowance, elastic, half fold and the rest of it. And I'm going to give this a couple of good stitches. You know, you have to think of where a garment would fail. And I believe that the garment would fail at the waistband. So I've got my shorts inside out, and what I need is I'm going to place this at the other end so that my waistband is at my halfway point, and my other half of my waistband is at my other halfway point, and I've got it so that it can fold over the right side. Okay, so I'm on the inside, as it were, and just get to halfway. So just coming up to the back of the seam, and I need my elastic hem to stop halfway through the garment. Okay, I'm just going to pause just to get everything straight. So I've got my pleat pin here. I'm just going to take the pin out, and then I'm going to keep my finger on it, and then I'm going to sew over. Lovely, so that's my pleat. I'm going to make sure this elastic that's sort of halfway in the middle of nowhere is nowhere near anything, and then I'm going to sew to the middle seam. Now, I haven't put any pockets in this one. If I was to put pockets in, then I would just put a pocket in the waistband, a little slip pocket. I wouldn't worry about zips or anything. I'm thinking more for when, you know, the child is older. Not, babies don't need pockets. They can get into all sorts of mischief if they have pockets, can't they? Okay, so I am just coming up to the other half of my waistband, and I'm just sewing till I get to the other point in the waistband, and I'm going to leave my needle down. Now, I know that there's going to be excess cloth on the waistband because we've taken up half of it with the pleats, haven't we? So what I'm doing now is I've got my needle down at the end of my waistband, and I'm going to take this piece of elastic and I'm going to sew over the piece of elastic in roughly the same position. So I've got my hem allowance and then my fold at the top of the elastic. So needles come unthreaded. That's a bit cruel, isn't it? It was going so well. Let's get some scissors. I think actually I might have run out of bobbin thread, so. Okay, am I going to do this first time? No, I'm going to pause it. Okay, I've threaded my machine and I thought it's best just to do the hem allowance now. This is the bottom of the hem, and what I'm going to do, rather than reverse stitch and then go over them, I'm going to carry on round the circle so that I sew over my stitches. I just think it leaves a neater finish. And the plus thing about this is that I can now turn over my waistband so you can see what I'm doing. So halfway round the back of my waistband I have the elastic sewn in halfway down. I'm going to take this piece of elastic and I'm now going to sew it flat to this. So if we pulled it out, it would be, you could see it. I'm going to take my other waistband and I'm going to sew this flat too. So that's what I'm left with. And I've got my hem allowance halfway through to the end of the elastic. Okay, so all I've got, 2 bits of waistbands and a piece of elastic. Now you have to think about where garments are going to fail. Now if a garment's going to fail, I believe it's going to be the attachment of this piece of elastic. So I'm going to just double stitch it. Ooh. Sometimes I can get myself in a right pickle here. Let's see if I can sort this out. There we are. So the next job is to just sort this waistband out. And if anything, this is the tricky bit. If you want to use pins, then use pins. If you want to iron it first, you can iron it. Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm just going to sew it, just because that's how I would do it. Okay, so I'm starting at the beginning of the front, and all I've done is I've used the elastic as a sort of brace, and I'm folding it over, but I'm making sure that I've got all my fluffy bits here, they're all tucked in. And I find it quite simple. I'm going to okay, yeah, change of plan. I'm going to sew the elastic side first. So, and it is a bit tricky because we want to not pucker the cloth, so we don't want it to stretch. So at the minute, the first half's quite easy, and I can literally sew below the waistband, catching everything in, and I'm not catching the elastic at all. And then for the second half of the back of the elastic, I need to pull the elastic, and then again I need to fold it over and tuck it in. So it's a bit more tricky. The choice is actually sewing the elastic into the waistband beforehand. That's quite a nice way to do it. But then you've just got an extra row of stitches to look at, really. So get everything tucked in. The foot will push the elastic out of the way, so it makes life a bit easier. And then I just need to pull it tight again, and you can see, and then I just fold it over. So yeah, tuck everything in. And you can see why pins are good, iron's good, everything's good. Just don't do anything you're not comfortable with, really, and that's for life as well. So tucking the last bit in, I'm going to hold it at the back because I've got it under such tension that I can feel my sewing machine slipping slightly. And there we are. So, but it's quite good. The elastic gives me something to sort of work around, and because these are summer shorts for hot countries, then I really wouldn't want any interfacing on the waistband or anything. Okay, so that's the hard job done. The waistband on the front is quite easy comparatively. So what I have to do is I have to just place it round and tuck it under, and then sew. So I've got all these floofy bits tucked in, folding quite naturally, and then I can just keep it all nice. So, and I'm sewing as close as I'm happy to the end of the waistband. This means I've got a better chance keeping it all neat. So, and you can see there the tag of the place where I'd like to pleat it. And I'm just coming up to the end so I can make sure that I'm not twisting it and smooth it all out. And obviously I don't want to catch anything from the bottom either. Now I'm going to do that thing where we go over the stitches again, obviously, because I feel that this is the fail point. And there we are. So from a pair of jeans, so that I've got the basic shape, and then the back with a piece of elastic, and then my front with a couple of little pleats in there, a little pair of shorts suitable for a young chap or young lady. It's quite feminine cloth, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm doing this afternoon. There's loads of places that you can send these sort of things. These ones are going to Michigan, and then they're going to Africa. I also have a friend in Bulgaria that's running a Well Women clinic, and she's desperate for changes of clothes in case there are accidents, and hopefully I can get her address up on the blog as well. So they'll be posted on underneath the YouTube video. Alright, thank you ever so much for watching, and yes, we a little pair of shorts suitable for a hot country, and as simple as we can make them and as cheaply as we can make them. Alright, thank you ever so much.